Yes. So everybody here might be wondering, how come we have this 200-gallon water tank here right on TEDx talk? We have a story to share with you.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, we were in Alosta looking at some organic farms and visiting some relatives, and we met this sort of boisterous, rich vegetable farmer from Cameron Highlands. He's a wholesaler, he's a farmer himself. He told us that every single day, 200 tons of vegetables from Cameron Highlands is shipped to Singapore, or by land, by sea. Singapore takes 200 tons of vegetables from Cameron Highlands every single day. So imagine about 100 elephants lining up going to Singapore every day, right? And he does not eat a single leaf of that vegetable, even though he's the farmer, or he's one of the farmers. He does not eat a single leaf. He eats vegetables from somewhere else. Why? Because the pesticides, he told us, in Cameron Highlands these days, the way they use it is crazy. It's so crazy that the bugs there are so strong, they've used so much pesticides that nowadays they use this black liquid, unnamed, no brand, nothing, from Thailand. They don't even know what it is. They take one cap of this liquid, just one small cap like this, and they mix it with 200 gallons of water, and they put it on their soil, and within 1 or 2 days, everything dies. His exact words, everything dies. So that's the kind of vegetables that are being shipped from Cameron Highlands to Singapore. What about those in JB, right? You don't have to be a scientist, just use Google, pesticides, Cameron Highlands, and these are the top few search sites. So it's very obvious that what this guy who calls himself Dato' Kong, because he's rich, what he says he's not lying, it's true. It's true, it's very bad. Now, then we ask him, we said, hey, Dato' Kong, if this 200 tons of vegetables a day is going all the way to Singapore, what are the Singapore authorities doing about it? They're very strict, right? Don't they have testing and all that? How can they allow these vegetables in? And what he said really, really, really confused us all.
So I quote him in Chinese.
Yeah.
He said, 他们不吃我们的菜，他们吃大便啊。
So for those who don't understand Chinese, he basically just said, if Singapore doesn't eat our vegetables, they can just go and eat there. So that's how helpless the situation is. Even the Singapore government doesn't have a chance, or it feels helpless, because that's the kind of vegetables that we're getting. Now, if you take one step deeper and you Google EUFSA, the European Food Safety Authority, and they did a test on all the vegetables that come into Europe from all over the world. And guess who is world number one? The most amount of pesticides found in the vegetables that is beyond limits, that means poisonous levels. Guess who is number one? Malaysia. We are even worse than China, Taiwan, India. I'm not saying they're bad, but we always say, the vegetables from China are full of pests. But we are worse. The world average that they found is out of 100 vegetables, you can see on top, about one vegetable, about 1% is beyond the limits of pesticides that are by the authorities, that is dangerous levels. They found that in Malaysia, it's 38%. So imagine if you take a sawi or a chai sim or kailan, out of every 10 kailan that you eat, 4 has pesticide levels that are dangerous. That is the vegetables that are going to Europe and Singapore. But what about the vegetables here? Can you imagine? What about the vegetables in our markets? So that got us really mad, right?
So this is a Malaysian problem. But somehow all of us would say that, well, it won't affect me lah. It's going to affect other families. No one in my family is affected. And we'll just leave it at that. Indifference. For us, 2 years ago, this thing got too close for comfort. What you see over here are actually our family and friends. They are relatives. And they are very young. The amazing thing behind all these smiley faces is that they are actually struggling with a lot of diseases. There's an alarming number of them suffering from shocking diseases that you wouldn't think would occur in young people. Take, for example, a lot of our women are having trouble conceiving. They first, how come get married, no children? They'll try all sorts of things, going all the way to IVF and sometimes still failing with IVF. We have 20-year-olds 20-year-olds having to go for dialysis every other day because both of their kidneys are already gone. And 30-year-olds just married with young children being told that they have cancer. Can you imagine having to raise up young kids while you yourself are battling with cancer? Even our young children are not spared. Many of them, while they are going to school, every morning when we go to school, we will drink our Milo and eat, right? A lot of these young children, they have to be popping pills. Why? Severe skin allergies, plenty of steroids on your skin. They have to be taking plenty of antibiotics, and not just your normal kind, the kinds that are reserved for superbugs. All of them getting sick more often and taking longer for them to recover. We have one nagging thought. And what is that nagging thought? The nagging thought is that our food is slowly killing us.
So we completely lost trust in our food system, and I'm sure many of us have that suspicion. But we went from suspicion to feeling betrayed. And so what we did was we said, okay lah, doctor, engineer, 6 of us, 6 core families, we just, friends amongst us, we just were like, okay, we have to start growing our food. Let's prove that we can grow good food right here in JB, safe enough, and even better, more nutritious for our families. So one family 2 years ago, from one family growing for one for themselves, which is Lemuel's parents, we went to 4 families together with our farmer, our Sifu, the first picture that you saw. 4 families started growing for 10 families. And then now, 2 years later, we are 6 core families. Some of them are at the back, I can't see them. We are 6 core families, and we are talking about families, intergenerational. My mother is involved, his mom is involved. We are growing for 60 families and counting. 60 families, all the food grown right here in JB, local, nutritious, organically farmed, and microbes diverse. And we are growing about 300 kilos, about 1,000 shares a week, and still growing. We have a small waiting list, and we're growing, even sprouting microgreens at about 100 bottles a week. So that's where we are right now. And we wanted to prove, and I think we have proved that it is really possible to do this.
And what are the effects of this? Well, other than not having to deal with the nagging thought that, you're eating poison, we are today eating food that we know that are being grown by people that love us. We are essentially feeding our loved ones. As a medical doctor and as they like to call me the nerd on the farm, I like to take records and make observations. What kind of observations have you found? Do you remember what we mentioned about the children with skin disease, with eczema and asthma? Our children with eczema right now do not have to use steroid creams anymore. There is something about coming to the farm that helps them to decrease their allergies and their asthma. And this is proven and documented in farms all over the world, in Europe, in America. Now, you remember about the women that couldn't get pregnant? 4 women, and one of them is my wife, with baby bumps. With baby bumps. And 3 of these women were actually diagnosed with medical condition. That means proven, ultrasound specialists have already seen that they would have trouble conceiving. Amazing things are happening. Our old people, my father now can read his newspaper, right, with brighter eyes, Our young children, previously loving only fast food, are like munching our microgreens. But what about the cancer patients? What about the young ones that had kidney failures? Well, I want to tell you as a scientist and as a doctor, we do not have enough evidence. We do not have enough cold hard facts that our vegetables are a cure-all. Don't come to me and expect that our vegetables are the Holy Grail. As a scientist, my mind is not fully convinced that our vegetables can cure everything. But other than my mind, my heart is telling me something else. My heart is telling me that we are doing something right amidst all these troubles. My gut feeling is that, like the vegetables that are slowly killing us, what we are doing, growing our own vegetables, our vegetables are slowly healing us.
So Rumi once said, the great poet Rumi once said, beyond right and wrong, there is a garden. I will meet you there. So we say beyond pills and surgeries, there is a farm in JB. We will meet you there.
Yes. What we are doing on the farm is something that what doctors in hospitals, me myself in a hospital, cannot do for our patients. What we are doing, focusing on our growing methods, is actually impacting health more than pills and more than surgeries. Here, we have our vegetables. In order for food to be medicine, it has to be grown in living soil. And what do we mean by living soil? The soil has to be filled with microbes, diverse microbes, so that these vegetables, as they thrive in this system of growing, they are filled with phytonutrients. You compare this to pesticide-sprayed, plastic-covered vegetables. Those vegetables are basically what we call a ghost of what real vegetables are. They are basically what we call junk food veggies. Now, if you want to have phytonutrient dense, if you want to have flavorful, if you want to have vegetables that are actually good for you, that could actually heal you, then we have to grow our own. We have to grow it organically.
And it has to be local because it doesn't have to travel too far, right? So
Yes.
okay, we brought some today, and we're going to get our farm Dora to come and spread it around. Please just eat it straight. It's straight from the soil. This is actually my uncle's share this week, but you know, whatever. So Genevieve, welcome Genevieve.
This is our farm ambassador.
So it's what we have 6 families. She's one of our daughters, and just to prove that we don't have the black stuff in our veggies. Oh, please go ahead and eat.
We are eating our vegetables. So today, from one family, 2 years ago, today at 2 years, we are feeding 60 families, 300 kilos of vegetables daily. And we see that there's no reason why all of you here can have access to this vegetable. We see no reason why the 2 million families in Johor and even Singapore, we love Singaporeans, can have access to these vegetables.
Yes. So how do we get from 60, which we are now, how do we get to 2 million? We can't do this alone. So our big idea today is that we should all practice this thing called community CHAAP agriculture. So for those who are Hokkien and Teochew, you should know what CHAAP means. It's the opposite of BOCHAP, right? Which means really taking action. We'll explain what it means later. So community CHAAP agriculture has just 3 simple steps. That's how we feel. The first step is to change your mindset. As an individual, we should practice from a survive mindset to a thrive mindset. What do you mean by a survive mindset to a thrive mindset? When you look at a farm, when you feed your loved ones, survive means I just grow the cheapest or the most expensive, most valuable, and at the most cheapest way. We just farm the whole thing with ladies' fingers or something like that, and we just sell it. But when you really want to feed your loved ones, you are feeding food that will heal you, not just food that won't kill you. Won't kill is survive. Heal is thrive. So at our farm, we farm over 50 different kinds of vegetables over the year, and we even sprout 10 different kinds of nutritious microgreens, and we create that diversity, and that diversity actually helps our farm in return. It becomes more resilient. Not one pest eating everything. The pests are confused. Wow, there's so much different kinds of vegetables. So this is Lemuel's father, and 83 and going strong, eating our vegetables. And that's a picture of microgreens with some Sunway students, I think, that came to our farm. Thrive to survive. Survive to thrive. When we have a survival mindset, we say, okay, we just buy whatever we need at the cheapest way possible. So like on a farm, when you have a survive mindset, most farmers will think, I'll go buy chicken dung. I'll go buy cow dung. But we all know how our chickens and our cows are grown here. But thrive means when we take care of ourselves, we also do things that can benefit JB, benefit our society. So what do? We spend almost half of our money every month. We drive a truck. We take 15 tongs, actually 30 tongs, and we collect food waste from Renaissance Hotel, from restaurants, from partners. We collect 2.5 tons of food waste a day in an environmental partnership with them. We give them the bins, they are responsible for splitting the waste. So 2.5 tons of days. So imagine 2 elephants sitting on our truck every single day, and we take that and we go bring it to our farm, and we convert that into the most richest, microbes-rich fertilizer that we can, even better than any other fertilizer you see out there, and right from our waste in JB. So that is thrive. Because we are not just feeding our loved ones, we are returning the ecology back to the earth. And this is important to us because we are actually trying to we want to do our part to make JB a cool place again. Make JB a place where Singaporeans don't just come and buy toilet paper and survive. They come here to get nourished, right? This is a thrive mindset. We want our kids to not migrate. Don't have to go overseas. You can do meaningful stuff right here in JB. That's thrive. Okay, we're running a bit low on time. So this is Chef Mahadi from Renaissance Hotel. We take their food waste. He comes to our farm. He cooks for us and old folks' homes. His son, who has cancer, we are now donating our microgreens to, and the owner of the hotel is our members. That is thrive. That is not survive. So the second step, simple step, is to move from I to we. When you have an I mindset, it's all about yourself. But when you have a we mindset approach to agriculture, you start doing things differently. The first thing you do differently is you start sharing the risk. So at our farm, we don't sell it to retail shops. It's not I farm, you buy. We share the risk. So members buy a share of the harvest. And when the harvest is bad, we all eat less. And when the harvest is good, we all eat more. So the farmers can just concentrate on farming the best vegetables based on the weather. We also have half of our farm space not for vegetables, even though we are a farm, because we have a we mindset. Half of our space is diverted to our community. Like Zam said just now, it takes a village to raise a child. We see our farm as a place to raise a child, where a kampong comes together to raise a child. And when that happens, you can see the vibrancy and the energy, and I'm sure the veggies are pretty happy too. So, I want to introduce you to the idea, when I becomes we, illness becomes wellness. I want to just quickly read a message that was given by one of our members to our WhatsApp chat group for all members, very quickly to you. She said one day, surprised all of us, the reason why we always encourage members to come pick up vegetables and hang out with us over tea is because we believe the power of community can help improve our health. I am very thankful that I have a very caring husband to grow old with, and when he is overseas, the community will always be around. Hopefully, our community will grow in size. So when I become we, illness becomes wellness. So this is the second step. Simple.
The final step is CHAAP. What do we mean by CHAAP? CHAAP means getting involved, putting on the boots and playing muddier roles. You might be thinking, okay, you're asking me to CHAAP farming. Are you asking me to plant? Well, did you know that farming is more than just planting seedlings? What are the many, many roles that a farmer play? Our farmer is a weeder, builder, father, tour guide, pest controller, harvester, HR manager. The list goes on. When we say CHAAP, we say that we are not asking you to be a farmer, what you are thinking about in your head right now. No. What we are asking you to do is to pick out one of the roles here that you are already familiar with, that you already have expertise, and be that kind of a farmer. For example, I myself, I'm a medically trained doctor. I have expertise in microbiology. You know, we were trained to identify bugs and how to kill them, right? So we know bugs. So what do? I be the composter. Because as we are composting, you know, it's all about bugs. But instead of bad bugs, it's good bugs. Right? And then, because as you can see, I love to be talking in front of audiences, I'm also a regular tour guide on the farm. So please come and be on our farm and be on a tour, because I am playing that role of a farmer as a tour guide. So what we have instead right now that's operating through FOLO is a picture that looks something like this. Families. Each and every one of them taking up individual roles that they have expertise in or they have passion in. That's what we mean by CHAAPing. By CHAAPing, we will be able to feed from one family to 60 families, and we believe the 2.5 million families in Singapore and Johor Bahru.
So it's simple. We just go from survive to thrive, from I to we, and from bo chap to CHAAP. Just CHAAP. So community CHAAP agriculture, please join us. Please help us.
Thank you.
Yeah.